Have you ever wondered what foods astronauts are restricted from enjoying in the vacuum of space? On this episode, we'll take a look at the top 8 foods banned in space. Number 8. Fresh fruits and vegetables. Dehydrated and vacuum-sealed fruits and vegetables are available in space, but the fresh, delicious form are not. When the space shuttle is placed on the launch pad, it is loaded up over weeks with supplies, and everything is strategically placed with storage and weight distribution in mind. For this reason, fresh fruits and vegetables are rarely packed on shuttle launches. Now, this isn't to say that astronauts don't get to enjoy fresh fruits and vegetables. While on the International Space Station, astronauts do get deliveries from Russia every once in a while that do have some fresh fruits and vegetables, but this is pretty uncommon. They also have to deal with all the peels and the waste, as it often stinks after a few days. Ironically, a few vegetables have been grown and consumed in space, like lettuce. Also, barley has been grown in space and brought back down to Earth to be made into beer, which cost around $100 for a 6-pack. Number 7. Carbonated drinks. Pop or soda is banned in outer space as it causes vomiting. The fact that there is no gravity means the carbonation stays within the drink, leaving the gas or bubbles in place and not having them fizz at the top of the soft drink. As astronauts have found out in the 1980s and 1990s, soft drinks that have gone flat and are warm are not exactly the best thing to consume in space. Number 6. Anything from the freezer. Ice cream, popsicles, anything frozen is banned, or more accurately, not available, as there are no freezers on the space shuttle. Now, there's actually a freezer on the International Space Station that keeps temperatures of minus 80 degrees Celsius, but that's strictly for scientific samples and not food. Astronaut ice cream was developed, which is a freeze-dried version of the tasty dessert, but was never used in space as it is too crumbly and would be too hard to contain it eating it in space. Number 5. Seasonings. Herbs, spices, salt, pepper, anything else dry like that crumbles or has many tiny parts doesn't make its way into space. This means no shakers, no dried herbs, powdered spices, nothing. Instead, astronauts use liquid paste seasonings like a liquid pasty hot sauce or a liquid infused salt and pepper to spice up their food. Hot sauce tends to be the favorite seasoning in space, as food tends to taste not as good in space, and those spicy flavors really go a long way. Number 4. Wine. This popular alcoholic beverage was once on track to make its way into space after a rigorous process of finding a wine that would remain stable even after being repackaged and would endure the flight mostly unchanged. Paul Masson California Rare Cream Sherry was chosen. Unfortunately, after doing some preliminary tests on the Vomit Comet, NASA's low-gravity test plane, the sherry was removed off the list of consumables going into space. People found the smell of the sherry once opened from its vacuum-sealed bag to remind them of the smell of vomit, with the weightless sensation and a lingering scent of vomit still present in the Vomit Comet. Many of the crew were grasping for barf bags when they tested the sherry out. Wine was ruled out as not being necessary to have in space. In contrast, the Russians have been bringing cognac and vodka up there for years. Number 3. Reindeer jerky. Swedish astronaut Christer Fuglesang was banned from bringing reindeer jerky aboard a shuttle mission, as it would not be viewed positively by the public in America, considering the mission was soon before Christmas. NASA was worried that talk show hosts would make a mockery of the situation, constantly making fun of how astronauts are eating Rudolph in space. To avoid a PR nightmare, they banned the jerky and allowed Christer to bring moose jerky instead. Number 2. Fish. While fish is not exclusively banned in space, it has become banned by specific commanders who can't handle the smell. A space shuttle or the International Space Station is lacking space. Living in such tight quarters with a few people can be difficult in itself, but imagine the smell of rehydrated or microwave fish reeking throughout with nowhere to go. A dish containing fish and tomato sauce was used in space, with the tomato sauce being used to mask the smell, but apparently it didn't work well enough, and commanders have banned the sea creatures entirely on their missions. Number 1. Bread. Bread or anything crumbly like cookies or crackers are strictly prohibited in space. They create a lot of crumbs and they get everywhere. Crumbs end up in instruments, crevices, astronauts' eyes, basically anywhere and everywhere. This was already determined and banned from space, but put to the test when astronaut John Young smuggled a corned beef sandwich on rye from his favorite deli on board the Gemini 3 space capsule in 1965. Once in space, as a joke, he handed the sandwich over to Mission Commander Gus Grissom, who took one bite and instantly regretted it. Now, the alternative is bringing tortillas into space, which do much better. And with help from Taco Bell, NASA now uses their specifically preserved tortillas, or at least the technology to preserve tortillas up to a year. Which one of these foods shocked you guys the most? Let me know in the comments below. And which one of these couldn't you live without?